you doing? How are you? So today, not a lot of things to talk about. I want to talk about 2 Samuel 18. 2 Samuel 18. I want to talk about Joab. Hi, hello, Mochalai. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm doing a little bit of Bible study, so I hope you stay with me. I want to talk, today I read about 2 Samuel 18, and I just want to talk about some of my learnings. But basically, I want to focus on the character of Joab. Joab was the commander of David's army, and David gave him an instruction. We may not like the instruction. He told him, deal gently with my son Absalom. Be gentle. I don't know what that would have looked like in real life, but that was the instruction. And then they got to the point where, Absalom was caught up and he had his hair in the thicket. I don't know what dealing gently with him would have really looked like, but he flagrantly disobeyed the order of his king. Yes, he was the commander. And the lesson for me is that sometimes we have been given, we are not the king, but the king has trusted us with instructions, and we may not always agree with what he has said or what she has said, but we need to make sure that when we get those instructions, we execute them, not the way we want to do it, because you're not the king, you are the commander of the king's army. The king said, deal gently with the young man Absalom. And then Joab says, oh, and by the way, hello, griped by grace. And then Joab says, oh, would you have preferred that all of us died and only your son lived? Yeah, the emotions were there, but there was an instruction. He went against his commander's instruction, and it was enough for him to be noted, because when we're looking at it as humans, we think about it that David was being emotional. Maybe he was, but it was between David and God. It wasn't between Joab and David. Joab should have listened to instructions. I really like to hear from you what you think. If there's anyone that wants to join the live and talk, please go ahead if you want to. Otherwise, I'll soon be ending the live. I just wanted to share that. I wanted to get that off my chest. I wanted to talk about what I read today and how it relates to following instructions. So I'm going to assume no one has anything to say, and I'll end. Thank you for joining me today. God bless you. I have a quick property-related conversation from the Bible. We are discussing from the Bible here. If you read 2 Samuel chapter 18, the Bible talks about Absalom building himself a monument because he knew that he said he didn't have any sons, and so he wanted the monument to be like a form of remembrance to him. I want to share my thoughts on that. I think there was some good thinking there, and there was some faulty thinking. So let me start with the good. So the good thinking is that Absalom was not he wasn't going out of his way that let me go and get sons. The way some of our African men do. They'll say, because I want to do Ekene Dilichukwu and sons. Sorry, no shades to Ekene Dilichukwu. I'm just thinking of a name. Chioma and sons, if you want. And then the man does interesting things because he's looking for a son. And I remember being on a bus once, and one Agbero came and he was misbehaving, and one of the older women in the bus that was in was like, this one now, when they gave birth to him, his parents would be rejoicing that they gave birth to a son. They didn't know that it was a useless thing that they gave birth to, and it was funny, but there's some perspective to that as well. So what I want to say, sorry, I guess with someone, so I lost my train of thought. Okay, so I want to talk about Absalom's monument. So Absalom built a monument for himself, and like I always like to say, if he wasn't, I don't believe he was led by the Spirit to do it. So I think that was the first defect in his thinking, though you can still say it was commendable because he didn't go through desperate means to have a son. His ultimate desire was to be remembered. I believe that was actually what was driving Absalom's poor decisions, the fact that he wanted to be remembered. But the reason why I'm talking about the monument is because it's some form of real estate. It's something you can do with your property. You can make monuments. But the foundation is before you start building any monument, before you start building anything. Have you spoken with God? Make sure that your decision, the foundation, is God first. So let's assume that has been cleared. So what are monuments? Do you think that monuments are a good use of the property? Or do you think he could have built a shopping mall? Would they have remembered him after some time with the shopping mall? The Bible says that the monument is there till today. When I read that in the Bible, sometimes I'm like, if I physically go to Israel, will I see something called Absalom's monument? It's my overactive mind just working. But the long and short of it is that much more than buildings, what monuments are we building that will outlast us? What are we building? What legacy are we working on that will outlast us? For me, that's the major question. And yeah, it still ties to what I was talking about a couple of in another video. What are we building? Would it outlast us? Absalom built himself a monument. I honestly don't know if it truly outlasted him or if it was just something that lived for some time. But it makes me pause to ask myself, what am I building? And would it outlast me? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Love you.